Good evening, everyone. I am Luisa Alarcon Criales. Here it is. Okay, I am a performance studies master's alumni here at Tisch, with a research on war, power relations, and women's resistance through performance. I am very happy to be sharing space with all of you again and to see your faces. I'm very grateful to have had the blessing of spending 2 months in the high Indian region. I was in San Augustín, Huila, Colombia, home to the largest group of pre-Columbian monuments and megalithic sculptures in South America. Since San Augustín is located really high up in the mountains, access to vital resources tends to be very limited at times. La Fundación Mujer es Warmiyuma is a pluralistic organization created to promote the integral development of women in their social, political, cultural, economic, health, legal, and educational aspects in order to improve the quality of life of women by appropriating their rights, managing spaces for education, training, recreation, coexistence, and a culture of peace through processes of projects as well as artistic and cultural activities. Contributing to the construction of a more equitable, participatory society with greater leadership representation. And so they are in charge of promoting international cooperation initiatives in favor of human rights for women and girls, taking into account the Sustainable Development Goals and the Agenda for Sustainable Development 2030 in Colombia. They also follow up on the care route for women and girls who are victims of any type of gender violence or sexual violence, so that they are guaranteed an efficient, fast, articulated process with all the competent authorities and institutions where there is no re-victimization by any of the entities linked to the set route and with the gender perspective. One of the key action plans of Warmiyuma is to promote the individual and collective empowerment of women and girls through permanent and itinerant campaigns in strategic points of high confluence of women and girls in rural and urban areas. For example, this graffiti, which translates, "Even Virgin Mary was consulted to be a mother," is located at the women's restroom in the only farmers market in town, making it the most important place for economic encounter and exchange for goods for people of all ages. Another performance in action here is the play Yuma, to name you again, which tells the story of the river Yuma, or how the Spanish colonizers call it Magdalena. The approach to this piece is particularly important because it is speaking about not only the resistances carried out by Yalcon, Abirama, Pinao, Guanaca, and Paez indigenous nations here in the Upper River Valley, but also the set of events around the river that affects the life of its inhabitants currently. Interestingly, the day I saw this performance, the place was filled with tourists visiting from Spain, which allowed a somewhat deep conversation on reparations and white guilt. As some of you may know, Colombia has been experiencing one of the longest non-international armed conflicts, NIACs, in modern times with the guerrilla warfare Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, People's Army, FARC-EP, with whom we are currently at a peace process. However, Colombia continues to have 6 other NIACs with different groups, one of them being the Guerrilla Warfare National Liberation Army, ELN, with whom we have not started a peace process yet. The ELN has been military active in Colombia since 1960s. And San Augustín has been historically a town crossed by guerrilla warfare activity up until today. Therefore, one of the main challenges that continue to affect the community is being subjected to armed violence. While I was in San Augustín, multiple social group-based killings to local members in the community took place, and a family member of Warmiyuma's director was actually kidnapped by the guerrilla warfare group National Liberation Army. Eventually, he was safely returned home, but it caused us and obviously his family incalculable distress and pain to everyone around him. Here, for example, are some of the intimidation techniques aimed to repress, in this case, the defense of women's rights. The first one is handwritten message at the women's bathroom located inside the Secretary of Culture, the reads, feminists, Marxists, go with your degenerations elsewhere. And the second one is the actual letter that was sent by the guerrilla warfare group ELN to Warmijuma's directorate family members, notifying them of the kidnapping of their family member. My follow-up plans with Warmijuma is the development and continuation of our ethnographic-based projects. Throughout the course of my stay with them, I gave them autoethnography workshops that we continue to hold online every Wednesday. We intend to have the first phase of the projects completed by December 15th of this year, and we're aiming for a public presentation of the work, which is based on their personal interests. The projects vary tremendously in content, however, they share the same interest of building a stronger support network for women and girls. If you're interested in learning more, reach out to me. Thank you, everyone.